Hi, it's Chef Rick, and today I'm making cheese soufflé. On the stove on a medium heat, we're going to add whole milk to the pan, and we're going to infuse this milk with some flavour. So we're going to add an onion, peeled, chopped in half, a couple of bay leaves, handful of black peppercorns. Bring that to the boil, and just then leave it to simmer. On the side for about 5 minutes, turn off the heat or remove it from the heat, and now let it sit there. So you can let it sit there for up to an hour. This was about half an hour, 40 minutes. Through a colander, a little bit of a messy way of doing it, but it's a nice quick way of getting everything drained out, or you could pour it through a sieve, or you could pick everything out bit by bit. But what you really want to do is basically remove all the bits that are in it, return it to the pan, and then you just want to keep that on a very, very low heat. See, it's on the back of the stove there on a super, super low heat, just being held. So in this pan, we're using butter and flour to make a rouball, like we've done in so many videos recently, it feels. First thing we're doing is just adding the flour, plain flour, bit by bit to the butter, the melted butter. Just mixing it around there with my little spatula thing, and if you add it bit by bit, then you remove all the lumps and it keeps this really, really lovely and smooth. So you see, I'm just going to keep adding flour to the melted butter. You can see it's thickening, but we ultimately want to turn this into like a ball, like a Play-Doh-y ball. This is, as I say, a rouball. This is the basis of any white sauce, any bechamels, any cheese sauces. Into that, some chili powder and some mustard powder. And I put those in at this early stage because, just like the flour, if you put them in now as you're mixing it through and forming it into its early stage ball, it removes all of the lumps without any need to whisk or really break them down or sieve them in there. So I add them at this stage. And you traditionally would use cayenne pepper, but I use a chili powder because I just think the colour comes out a little bit better. It just adds makes everything a little bit darker, gives it a very, very, very subtle hint of chili, although this isn't spicy in the slightest. You can see we're just going to keep mixing that. That still needs a bit more flour, but we're just going to add it slowly because you can always add more, you can't take it out. See, that's coming together now. Perfect. Super smooth, like a ball of Play-Doh. That's the kind of consistency and shine and texture and everything that you're looking for. To that ball, that roux ball, we're now going to add bit by bit the infused milk. Use a whisk to just whisk that in. Don't forget this first one, or don't worry, should I say, this very first one you're putting, it's not going to instantly combine. You're just going to have to work on this for a while, but it is going to keep it lovely and smooth. Again, with the milk, you can always add more, you can't take it out. So just keep adding it slowly until you get the consistency that we want. Whilst I'm doing this, you know what I'm going to ask, please, if you like my videos, can you hit like at the bottom? If you don't like them, there's no problem at all. Also, if you're not subscribed to me, if you hit the subscribe button at the bottom, it's totally free for you, but it really helps me, and I do 3 of these videos a week, so if you choose to do that, I really thank you very, very much. See, we're thickening now. See how thick it gets. This way you can just keep adding milk to it, and as soon as you add that milk and start whisking around, it's instantly going to thin the sauce but keep it completely lump free and lovely and super smooth. See how smooth that's getting. Just beautiful, smells nice. It's yeah, very, very nice. Take it off the heat. That's because I want to be in control of this. If it's really, really hot and it starts bubbling away, you don't need it to catch on the bottom of the pan. So there we're adding the grated Gruyere cheese. You can add any cheese to this, but traditionally Gruyere is the one. It melts really nicely. It's got a beautiful cheese flavour. It's strong without being like an overbearing cheese, and it's just, well, it's just, I don't know, it's got like a, it tastes posh. So obviously that cheese is melting as we're whisking it in. It's getting very thick, so we've still got some milk left, so we're just going to keep adding the milk until we get it to the consistency that we want. Look at that. It's so smooth, so silky, so shiny. Really beautiful. That is just a very, very simple, almost like a bechamel or white sauce. But obviously it's got that, you see that little bit of colour, that's from the chili that was in there and the mustard powder. That's why it's got that kind of off-white. So now we're done. So I'm taking that off the heat, and that can just sit there like that. That's not going to that's going to stay at exactly that texture and that consistency, which is just what we want. And you're okay to leave that on the side now. Let that cool. We're going to separate some eggs. You've seen how we separate eggs. You crack them over the container that you're happy to get the white to go into, because that's just going to fall straight in, and you're going to keep the yolk just passing between your fingers, just back and forth, and let all the white fall down into the other container, and then just put your yolk into, well, wherever you want it. Going to do this with 3 eggs. If the first time you crack the egg open, every 1 in 20 eggs you open, for some reason the yolk is already broken inside, and I'm afraid there's nothing you can do with that. You can't unfix it, so that's just got to be turned into scrambled egg or something. But there you go. That's how you remove the yolks. You can see they're fairly robust. Look, you can move them around, you can do all that, not going to crack anywhere. These are the ramekins, or these are the pots that we're going to use for the soufflés. So you butter them. So basically you're going to grease the inside with real butter, salted butter. It's like that, so it's all nicely covered. That's the second one. And then inside I use panko breadcrumbs. You can use any breadcrumbs, you can use flour, you can use anything. You just need something that's going to stick to the walls, but I love these breadcrumbs because they add texture to it. They help the soufflé, what they call climb the walls of it, so it can rise up out. But I just like it really because I think it adds something. So you've got a lovely, beautiful white cheese soufflé with those lovely crispy, crunchy breadcrumbs in there. So like that. You can see they've all stuck to the inside because of the melted butter. And now I will just run my finger again around the top bit. There's a name for this, I think it's called top hatting it or whatever, but if you do it at this stage it's nice and easy because any of those breadcrumbs that are going to fall down into the middle you can easily just tap out. So you can see I've left the rim nice and clear, but the inside is still lined with all the breadcrumbs and the butter. And there you go, ready to go. Okay, so this is now cooled down. Our white cheese sauce has cooled down, to which we're adding the egg yolks, which again is going to improve the colour. Look at that, just absolutely beautiful. It's obvious, if that was still red hot straight off the stove and you added those egg yolks to it, then it's a chance that they're going to cook or scramble, which you don't want. You just want them to melt into the sauce. Look at that, come on. How shiny and lovely is that? Nice. And the egg whites, we're going to whisk until they are firm. And use an electric whisk. I've never done this with a manual whisk, but I've seen people do it on TV and you just think, no, come on, use an electric whisk. It takes no time. I've sped this up just so you can see how long I'm like pretty much holding it in there, but it's very, very simple with an electric whisk. Just whisk around. Once it's done, it'll all hold in place. So there you go, that's whisked egg white in what they call stiff peaks. You can turn the bowl upside down just to prove that it's held. If you have guests or company, you must hold it over your head. It seems to be the law nowadays, but I didn't have anyone there watching, so I just turned it upside down to show you. And now you're going to fold in the egg white mixture into our cheese sauce mixture, but fold it in to keep the air in there. This is the key to this one. So when we fold things into the sauces, we've done these in several videos before, but you basically just work around slowly but surely, just gently folding this in, starting from the bottom, working your way around, making sure it's all combined. You don't want big pockets of fluffy egg white, nor do you want big pockets of just the sauce. So you want to make sure this is all combined. You don't have to be too precious about it. You can give it a little stir from time to time just to make sure it's all together and as I keep saying, combined. But this is what you want to do at this stage. Fold it all together until it's one colour and consistency. So there you go. See, it's still lovely and smooth, but you can see just from the size of it in the pan, really, how the air is still in there. And that's pretty much your cheese souffle mixture. So what you want to do now is, as careful as you can, put it into your ramekins. These are just going to be once cooked soufflés. Sometimes you see twice baked or triple baked. I might do those in a separate video, but this is probably the most simple style of cheese soufflé. Really easy and really nice to serve for your guests. This bit, just run your finger around the top there, just so they'll rise up onto a baking tray, and then into an oven. All the temperatures are in there. They go in for around about 20 minutes, and look at that, out they come. Look how much they've risen. A slight crisp to the top, but the inside is just airy and fluffy and light and cheesy and delicious. Serve them immediately because they do want to shrink. Serve them with a spoon, maybe a nice little crunchy crispy salad on the side, or maybe a pickle just as a bit of a starter. It is poncy, it is showy offy, it is old school, it is faff, but the taste, it just tastes amazing. It just tastes, like I said earlier, it just tastes posh and delicious, and it's creamy and it's cheesy, and it's just amazing, and you want more, which is a perfect thing for a starter. So if you make these as a starter, people are going to love it. They're going to be really impressed, but they're still going to be hungry. Anyway, going on with myself, thank you so much for watching the video, really appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one.